feel the yearning. I'm getting this, I'm picking up the crumbs. It's literally on the blurb. I'm gonna DNF. Hello my loves, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are reading some super highly anticipated reads for me. There's been a lot of new releases at the end of August, beginning of September that I am so excited to read. So I thought we could just read them together. So I started Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross last night, and when I tell you guys I could not put this book down. I started it at like 9 p.m, which was a rookie mistake because I just thought I'd read 1-2 chapters and then I'll go to bed, you know. I could not put it down. I read like 10 chapters and even then I had to force myself to stop because the way she ends these chapters, it just makes you want to read more. It starts so, not necessarily fast paced, but it starts so gripping, like you're starting in the god world and the god realm, and something about it feels very Greek mythology with all the gods and their different powers and like how cunning and vicious they are. I just love it, combined with Rebecca Ross's writing. Like I am just having the time of my life. So I am currently on page 112 and I just want to sit and read this book because it's so gripping. There's not much romance at the moment. All we know is that there's a mortal boy who has been seeing Matilda, our female main character, in his dreams since he was young, probably like 11 or 12 years old. He doesn't know who she is. She's just been in his dreams, and she knows who he is because she likes to read people's dreams, and she read his once and found out that he's been dreaming about her. So that's all that's really going on romance wise, but plot wise there's so much going on in the god world. So yeah, those are my first initial thoughts, and this is the first book that we are reading. So the second and third book, I'm thinking, so they both came out today, the day that I'm filming this video. We have Alchemized by Sarah Lynn Yu, and we have The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovellino, which I've heard really good things about. This is like lady night with loads of yearning apparently. I always hear people talking about the yearning in this romance, and let's read because I really don't know. I've just seen loads of people loving it, so I'm like, yeah, I want to read it. Gray Flynn has dedicated her life to her mage Keir. She will be his blade on the battlefield, his healer and protector. The deep well of raw power inside of her is Keir's to use. Gray would do anything for Keir, be anything for him, if he would only ask. Okay, I can feel the yearning. Got it. When a quest to protect the child of an enemy kingdom pulls them into the dangerous heart of their nation's war, Gray and Keir will need to decide what they are willing to sacrifice to protect their secret. What secret? For Gray is no ordinary magical well, but heir to the lost island of Locke, the root of all power. If she dies, all magic dies with her. Why have I never read this before? The Second Death of Locke is a devastatingly romantic epic fantasy about the undying bond between a knight and their mage, perfect for fans of The Knight and the Moth and The Six Deaths of the Saint. Oh, I'm so excited for this. I can see she's yearning for him, but I definitely need him to be yearning for her. I wonder, is it dual POV? Because I just finished Anathema, and when I tell you the yearning in that book, oh my god, it was so delicious. It was such a slow burn. That's one of my new favorite romantices. I gave it 5 stars. Highly recommend if you guys do like romantasy. Right, I'm not seeing any names on the chapters, so I don't think it's dual POV unless it's written in third person. Yes, it's written in third person. Well, we'll see when we read it, but yeah, definitely want to read that. And then last but not least, I actually think I'm going to read this next. I'm hoping to start this either tomorrow or the day after, depending on how long it takes me to finish. Probably the day after because I'm going out tonight, so I won't be able to finish Wild Reverence tonight. But as soon as I finish Wild Reverence, I'm going into this big boy. Look how thick. I think it's 1,000 pages, which, I mean, it's over 1,000. 1,020. 1,023 pages. But because it's a standalone, I don't mind that it's so long. I'm hoping that it will devastate me and give me all the emotions that everyone else seems to be feeling, because I've seen early reviews of this book and everyone is like, this destroyed me, crying, you know, all of that stuff. So me too, I want to be destroyed by a book. I'm going to try and read a couple chapters before I go, but yeah, that is the plan. I'm going to read a little bit more of Wild Reverence and then I'll update you guys when I have a little bit more thoughts. Is it time to update you guys? I don't even know what my thoughts are. Okay, so I'm on page 364, which is chapter... Actually, I don't know the chapters because they're written in Roman numerals. I've got no clue what chapter I'm on, but I am more than halfway, probably near the end. And I'm enjoying this book so far. It does feel very slow. I really enjoyed the first half, which felt very Greek mythology with all of the gods and being in the different god realms. The romance is cute. It has very cute moments, but I don't feel... It's hard to describe. I feel like it's not a 5-star read for me just yet. I feel like it's probably like a 4.25. I'm enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with the book per se. I just find myself a little bit bored at certain parts, which feels criminal to say because the writing is just absolutely beautiful. The way she puts sentences together, the way she describes things, it's just so beautiful to read. I don't know, I'm very torn on this book at the moment. I mean, as much as it is enjoyable to read, I don't know if I'm actually invested in the story or the romance. I'm not mad at the romance. It's okay. It's just not filling me with like, oh my god, the giggles and stuff like that. I don't know, it's a tricky one because I'm loving it, but I'm also cautious of the fact that I'm a little bit bored. This does feel very character focused. It is heavily focused on Matilda and her value of herself in the god world. I just don't know what my thoughts are on this book. I mean, I'm having a good time. I am enjoying how it's written. I am enjoying the characters. I just don't know if I'm having fun, but then it's not necessary to have fun. Like, it doesn't need to be like plot. I feel like it's so well written that it is distracting me from the fact that nothing's happening. That's how I feel. Let me finish the book and then I'll try and gather my thoughts, because right now I just don't know what I think about this book. Okay guys, so I finished Wild Reverence. I settled on a 4-star. I just felt like I wasn't engaged throughout the whole book. Like, I enjoyed this story. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I did like this story. I did love this book. I do feel like it is in line with Rebecca Ross. The writing is beautiful. That's undeniable. I just felt like something was missing and I wasn't as connected to the story as I could have been. I still can't really put my finger on why. It was just, some parts felt really slow and I felt slightly bored during some parts. It was still beautiful to read nevertheless, but when I was deep in my actual enjoyment level of this book, I was like, I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought I would. So it got a 4 stars, but overall I still really loved this book. I really enjoyed the first half. I would say the first half to me was 5 stars. The whole gods and goddesses and the whole feeling of Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology, so kind of that vibe, atmosphere was perfect. I think maybe I wasn't really into Vincent as a character. I could feel his love for Matilda and I could feel that he really wanted Matilda, but him as a character, I don't know, I wasn't connected to him. I really connected to Matilda and Bade? What's his name again? Bade, yes. The god of war. I feel like I really connected to her and Bade's relationship, this type of father-daughter dynamic, but he's not her actual father. Like, I really believed that and I was rooting for that relationship. It felt like it grew organically and really kept me interested. So I really enjoyed him as a character as well. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Wild Reverence. Definitely happy that I've read it. I liked it. I just wasn't obsessed with it, which I thought I would be. So yeah. Now we're gonna move on to, I'm not sure if I want to do Second Death or Alchemized. Second Death or Alchemized. It makes more sense to do Second Death because it is the shorter book, but then should I just go ahead and get the longer book out of the way? I went ahead and purchased the international export paperback because look at the flop on that book. Oh, this is gonna be a dream to read because it just stays open. It's obviously 1,000 pages, so it's really heavy, but it's not as heavy as the hardback. So yeah, I'm really glad that I picked this up. And it has these beautiful sprayed edges as well that match the cover. We'll find out in the next clip which one I decide to pick up. Good morning. Wow. Good morning, my loves. So I decided to start the second death of Locke, and I'm literally on page 34. But I just thought something was so funny. I was reading it and I've completely forgotten the blurb of this book, apart from our main character being a hand and or a well, and she is tethered to a mage, so she can push the power, but he has to use the power, and she's like been in love with him. They grew up together, they're childhood friends. Like I kind of knew that going in, but everything else I kind of forgot. So I was just putting pieces together, you know, when you're trying to read between the lines. And the author was saying that our female main character is an orphan. They lost their parents and brother when they were young. During the world building section, they started talking about the Isle of Locke was the source of magic in this world, and the Isle of Locke was taken down. Someone tried to overthrow them, so they took out the ruling family, I guess, but the heir was still alive. As soon as they said that, I was like, I bet our FMC is the heir. I bet. And I'm here trying to put things together, and I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm getting this. I'm picking up the crumbs. It's literally on the blurb. It's literally on the blurb. It says, for Grey is no ordinary magical well, but the heir to the lost island of Locke. So I really thought I was doing something by putting these pieces together, but it's literally on the blurb. 30 pages in and it hasn't been revealed yet, but I'm assuming because it's in the blurb it will be revealed very soon. I hope it's not one of those situations where it doesn't get revealed to like page 100, because then why is it on the blurb? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm enjoying this book so far. I'm really liking the magic building. It is heavily like it started right in with the magic building and the explanation of the world and the hierarchy, and at the beginning of every chapter they have this kind of excerpt about the world. So at the beginning it tells you that a well without a mage is nothing. What is the point of power with no way to use it? So you kind of know the dynamics between the well and the mage. They're doing the world building in a nice way. It's not overwhelming, but it's understandable, and I like to feel like I've got a good grasp of the world while I'm reading or before I get right into the plot. And I feel like I thoroughly understand this world so far, and I'm only 34 pages in. I will update you guys when we're a bit further in. Okay, I'm on chapter 7, page 84. I think I might have to stop here because I've got some work to do, unfortunately. I don't want to put this down. I've tried to read it as long as I possibly can, but this is so good so far. So it's written in third person, but it's definitely heavily from Grey's point of view, who's the FMC. We're not really getting much from Keir, who is the male main character. Like, we're not really seeing his POV, even though it is third person. Do you understand? So everything is she felt, she did, she knew, you know? So I like how it's written, but I wish I was getting more of his thoughts, because right now it's feeling like unrequited love. But obviously it's a, well, I hope it's a romance. Yeah, romantic epic fantasy. So I'm assuming he feels the same about her, but they've grown up together, and there's this weird power imbalance because obviously she's his well and he's the mage. And in this world, you know, wells can be replaced, and then the mages are kind of the leader in the duology, duology. Mages are the leaders in the duo. I don't know how he feels about her. We haven't really got much about that yet, but I'm so interested in this plot and these characters. I can feel her yearning in the page, and because they have this bond, like, you know, between mage and well, and they grew up together as childhood friends, they have a lot of history and they have a really tight-knit friendship, and they feel very comfortable touching each other, like, you know, holding each other's faces, kisses on the forehead, you know, stuff like that. I'll read some more tonight and I shall update you when I am further in. Good morning, my loves. So I thought I would jump on here before I finish the second death of Locke. I'm right near the end. I'm on page 411, so I've got just the ending to go. It's been such a busy week, so I've been reading this really slowly, but I am really loving it. It's definitely sitting at like a 4.5 so far. I haven't got the 5-star feeling, but I'm really enjoying this world and the magic system Kingdom. It's like a political fantasy, so it feels very Game of Thrones-esque, you know, because there are these rulers and they're trying to take over this Isle of Lock, which holds all of the power on the continent. All of the other countries have been searching for her because they feel like if they find her or her brother, they will be the controllers of Lock and the controllers of power. So this is heavily more fantasy than it is romance, but the romance is definitely still there. It's friends to lovers and it's quite smooth sailing because, of course, I'm used to enemies to lovers. Most of us read enemies to lovers and you kind of have this resistance. There was a lot of longing and yearning in the beginning because they had been friends for such a long time and no one had ever made that first move. But then once they did eventually fall into lovers, it's just been very smooth sailing. You know, they are in love. They've been in love for the past 16 years. Yeah, overall I'm really enjoying how it's written. I feel like the world feels very real, the magic feels very real, the politics, the characters, everything just feels tangible and believable. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm wondering what's going to happen at the end because there was a point where everything was going so like smooth, everything was working out, and I was like, something's gonna go bad, something's gonna go bad, and it did. But I've got nothing negative to say about this book. I do feel like some people might find it a bit slow because of all of the politicking and the plotting and the so many moving parts in terms of the countries and the characters that work for those countries. But I do enjoy political fantasy, so I don't mind that whole plotting, slow pace, you know, war room discussion, stuff like that. So I have nothing bad to say. Not getting a 5-star feeling just yet, but it is a very high rating. I'm enjoying this immensely, and like I said, probably like a 4.5 so far. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off the last bit of this story. I've been listening to the audiobook as well, which is okay, it's good. It is just one narrator, and the narrator kind of has a Scottish accent, so I can't speed up the audiobook too much because I get a bit confused with what she's saying, and I've only been able to listen to it while I'm reading it physically because the accent, sometimes I'll hear words and I'm like, what was that? So yeah, if I'm reading it along with listening to it, it makes sense, but I don't know about just listening to it by itself, how that would have worked out for me. Is this a standalone? The way it's wrapping up, I don't see the potential for another book. It's reading very much like a standalone. Okay, let me do the epilogue and then we'll see. Maybe there's something in here. It's a standalone. I did not know that. I guess that's why I was waiting for something to happen, waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know, but that changes everything. I'm gonna have to rethink my thoughts now because I thought there would be more of this world. I thought we were building towards something. Let me get my thoughts together. We'll talk. Okay, so I think I'm settling on a 4-star, 4.25 star, around that type of rating. It was enjoyable. I really enjoyed the world, the magic. The plot was good. Like I said, it was that type of political fantasy, heavily focused on this Isle of Lock and this well of power and who can control that power. Very surprising that it was a standalone because this world has so much potential for more, you know, but I guess it did wrap up really nicely. The ending was kind of anticlimactic, which is why it kind of went down to a 4-star. It just really wrapped up really nicely and fast, and I don't know, I wouldn't say it wasn't a satisfying ending, but it felt like there was a lot of build up to this thing, and then the thing happened and it was just like, okay, done. I liked this book. I would highly recommend it. It was beautifully written. The world was engaging. The characters were good. There was a nice little found family. The plot moved at a nice pace. Nothing dragged and nothing went too fast. It was nicely paced. It was weaved perfectly with the romance. I really liked this book, so yeah, I would recommend it. I was just really shocked to find out that it was a standalone. It's so windy today. I hope you guys can't hear that. It is shaking my windows and doors. But yeah, I guess that is that book. So we're gonna move on to Alchemized, but I'm actually currently reading, I started this on audio last night, Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine, and I love this series. It's the third and final book in this series. It's like a vampire rom-com, you know. They're really light-hearted, easy, spooky 3-season reads, and this one is between a witch and a vampire. The previous books have been with humans and vampires, and the idea of this one is the vampire has amnesia and he's gone to the witch to help him get his memories back. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly fly through this book because they're quick, easy reads. They're mostly dialogue. There's not much of world building, of course, because it's set in our world. And then I will be taking on the behemoth challenge of reading Alchemized. Okay guys, so I've started Alchemized, more than started actually. I am over halfway. I'm on page 678 and I have some thoughts. I haven't checked in before this point because I had no thoughts at all. I really was unsure how I felt about this book. Felt really disconnected to the characters and the story for like the first 500 pages, which I mean is a lot. I only really persevered because this book is so hyped up. I felt like I was missing something. I was like, surely everyone loves this story. I must be missing something. Let me keep reading. And I do have to say the second half of this book so far, from like page 500 on, has been better. I'm having a better experience with this book, but I do still feel very disconnected from this story and these characters. I kind of feel like the story's written backwards. So usually at the beginning of a book, you'll get introduced to the characters and you'll get very invested in the characters and you'll fall in love with their personality and their banter and stuff like that. This book essentially starts at the end. So it starts after the war while she's in captivity, and then you kind of get 200 pages of world building, and which is very overwhelming, by the way. I still don't understand how this world or magic works because it's alchemy but it's also metals. For example, our male main character Kane, he can transform iron into steel, but I don't see how that helps him in everyday life. They've kind of said it helped his family build their empire and their wealth, which, okay, understandable, but for the everyday average person, I don't see how transforming iron into steel or metal, some type of metal, into something else benefits an everyday person. Like, how is this magic usable in the everyday life? But then there's also things like vivomancers, animators I think it's called, and necromancers. They're very rare, but at this point it's starting to feel like everyone has this ability. Everyone that we're meeting anyway has this ability, and I don't understand how it works because vivomancers can affect your feelings, but they can also heal you, but they can also create necromancy. I don't understand what's going on. This magic is very confusing to me. That's my gripe about the magic system anyway, but also the characters. I just felt like I knew nothing about them. Helena felt very flat and one-dimensional to me until literally page 500. Like I said, that was when I think they had like a very intimate scene where I got to know her and I got to know Kane a little bit more, but by that point it's just been so many pages of nothing meaningful that I just lost interest. So it's a bit too late to be trying to make me fall in love with the characters. I'm 500 pages deep, do you know what I mean? I don't know if you've read Rose in Chains, but I feel like the way Julie Soto was flashing back between the years at school and the present time, it really helped build the relationship and for us to understand the characters and like their backstories, whereas this has only gone back to the war. So I don't feel like, I don't know, I'm just not vibing, guys. And I was trying to put how I felt into words to tell my friends how I'm feeling, and I just couldn't really think of the words to really describe it. I really wanted to DNF. I was really struggling to understand these characters, this world, the magic system. Like, nothing was gripping me, and I'm probably alone in this opinion, I don't know, but I just looked at a couple 3-star reviews to see if anyone was kind of feeling how I'm feeling, and I saw one review that I thought really encompassed how I felt. It's a really long review. I'm just going to pick out the main things that I thought, yeah, I agree with that. At the end of the day, she needed to turn this into a fully fleshed out series. A trilogy was right there. It feels like it's missing a beginning. It feels like I'm missing the early days in Helena and Kane's life, you know? I'm missing the backstory between her and the Eternal Flame and why she cares so heavily for Luke and all of these people. It just feels like a before book, a prequel is needed. They said the reason Manacled worked was because we spent 7 books, 8 movies, years upon years of our lives enmeshed in the world with characters who felt like family. Yeah, I haven't read Manacled, so I don't really know how to compare the two, but I do feel like something is missing from this book in terms of I don't know these characters, so every bad thing that's happening, it's like, oh, that's a terrible thing that's happening, but I don't care. I'm not crying. I'm not moved at all because I don't know these these people. But if we're examining this book as strictly a standalone, you know, novel that's nothing to do with HP, I don't think it's done well. I don't feel like the characters are built up to a place where we can genuinely say we know and love and care about Helena and Cain. Well, me personally anyway. I don't know, guys. I feel like a lot of people are gonna love this book because they have such an attachment to the original work and the original characters, but as a book by itself, as someone that has not read the previous Manacled book and I'm trying to read this as its own body of work, it's not doing it for me. It's really not doing it for me. Like I said, the second half is a little bit better. We had a bit more slow moments between Cain and Helena where they're having conversations that are allowing us as the readers to get to know them deeper. I think this book could have done with flashbacks to before the war. Definitely would have helped with building dynamics between her and Luke and Lila and Soren, all of these, you know, the group that she's dedicated her life and risking her life for. If we saw more of that found family element before the war, then maybe the flashbacks of the war would make more sense and have more impact to me as the reader. That's just my personal opinion. Everything's my personal opinion, of course, but yeah, those are my thoughts so far, guys. I'm really underwhelmed, unfortunately. I'm gonna finish it because I'm being stubborn. I've come this far. I'm on page nearly 700 pages and I've only got this much left, so I'm gonna finish it and see if it gets any better. I just think that the author has tried so hard to keep the story so similar to Manacled because it was such a success that it's come at the detriment of the actual story and readers' enjoyability. The way it's laid out, like the first 200 pages being so heavily info dump and not character focused. Like, I feel like I need to fall in love with the characters in the first 100 pages, otherwise the rest of the story just feels meaningless to me. I don't care. I hope I've conveyed my thoughts on this book. I know I'm probably going to be alone or very in the minority in this opinion, and that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and lie and be like, this is the best book ever, I'm having the best time, if I'm not. Do you know what I mean? But I am curious to know your thoughts. If you have read Alchemized, let me know. Do you feel the same as me, or did you absolutely love this book? We can have different opinions, that's fine, but yeah, let's keep it respectful. But I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Okay, guys, it pains me to do this, but I'm gonna DNF officially. I haven't picked this book up in weeks. I know I said in my last clip that I was just gonna continue, persevere and get through it, but I honestly just don't care. Like, every page I read, I'm just thinking, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this to myself? And if I'm not invested by page 700, like, it's not gonna happen for me. So unfortunately, this one's just not for me. And what solidified it is one of the girls that is in my book club as well, that we were meant to be, you know, discussing this book in November. She finished it and she gave it 1 star, and all of her thoughts were very much aligned with how I feel about this book. I just don't think it's well written, in my opinion. It's not emotive writing, and it's such a dark circumstance that they're going through, a dark situation. It's a war, and like, I don't know, for me to feel nothing for these characters, I don't feel like the characters are well done. I just don't feel like the world and the magic system are well done. Like, I can't find a redeeming thing about this book. I'm just gonna put that down and move on to better things, hopefully. But like I said, if you did love that book, I'm so happy for you. I really, really wish I loved it too, but that's just not the way the cookie crumbled for me. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.